Caitlyn Jenner running for governor. What up? Okay, so yeah, go ahead, please.
No, you go first.
Well, okay, I was going to start off. So I did my research today, and apparently tonight at 8 o'clock, she's doing a one-on-one with Sean Hannity. Now, if that's not telling enough that she's on Hannity, that she will be doing a one-on-one with, like, the most, like, right-wing person in the world. But anyway, I was going to start this whole thing off with, like, oh, what does she know about politics? She's done nothing about politics, blah, 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 blah. But I also just remind myself that Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So I was going to say, I feel the same about her running and Arnold Schwarzenegger running. Like, I don't know that I think the sentiments of there have to be more suited people who understand and have grown up and have studied and have focused on the government, how things are run, and our world's issues outside of the spotlight, that they have lived in their entire lives, that are better representations in those areas than either of them. So I don't think now there's interesting aspects to your point about her being more Republican side and when you would expect to be more Democratic side.
Because the guy right now, the governor currently is a Democrat, which I appreciate because, I've never been a huge politics guy, ever. I respect it, and I do my best, my darndest to understand what the heck's going on, which is challenging enough, right? Because one day it's this thing, the next day they backtrack and they say a different thing or, whatever.
Yep.
But, like, I really don't want to overgeneralize, but one Republican was like, hey, like, the Republican Party has to stop, like, lying. Like, the election wasn't stolen. If you're lying about that, like, it's enough of this. I don't want to be a part of it. I'm on the sidelines. Like, y'all could fight. The drama is over there. That's how I like to be. I saw myself in this woman. I'm like, I like to watch the drama, but not be a part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then the Republican Party was like, oh, this bitch is crazy. I'm like...
So, I think there's a larger issue here on both sides where it is falling farther and farther to the extremes. And it's unfortunate because and maybe this is naive, hope that the majority of the U.S. is closer to the middle than they are the extremes. And when we have people in charge who are the extremes, you get the extreme people. And again, both sides, Democratic and Republican, both sides of the extreme are annoying and have their own issues. And when you have people in charge who lean both ways and help to spur that, they tend to be the loudest and they tend to cause the most trouble on both sides. And it's like, it goes back, like, why can't it be, a lot closer to that middle ground where a Democrat can easily vote for a Republican that election because they have more points that kind of teeter the line, versus right now, neither side is going to even come close to voting for the other one because they have to make such drastic, choices. I have to choose Trump or Biden. Like, you're so far of the spectrum that you have to make these drastic, like, commitments, when really most people, naive, I like to believe, are in this middle area where I could go, one of the two ways based off actually their stances versus having to make such extreme things.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, in an ideal world, like, that's a thing. But okay, so here's the analogy that I'm going to give. I believe, so you've been to the city, like when you had your fitting for your wedding, you came to the city, right? And there were a lot less people on the streets. Now, granted, we were in like Flatiron, right? So there was a bunch of people. But typically, like, even downtown on 14th Street, even up by here, up by Hope's old apartment on Harlem, there were just a lot less people. So it opens up this it opens up the streets, right? And you just open up your eyes to see how many more homeless people there are in the street, right? And I mean that like it's terrible, and there are some crazy people, but like sidebar, there are like if they said if you take like 10% of like Jeff Bezos's like earnings or what he's worth, we could cure homelessness. Just saying, but like anyway, not to go there. So this crazy pandemic and less people being on the streets exposes us, opens our eyes to the actual problems at hand if you didn't recognize it before. Same thing with government, in my opinion. So, like, Trump came along and, like, screwed up the world, right? And all these Republicans are, like, standing behind him, and then they had that insurrection and all these, like, quote-unquote crazy people. I think they're fucking crazy. I don't want to speak for you. But, my personal beliefs, these fucking people are crazy. But it just, because we've had him, now you see more of this division, right? And then, like you said, like, I'd like to think that, too, that there are more people in the middle. But all we're seeing now, like, media is just this side A, side B. Black, white, blue, red, whatever it may be. And, it's absolutely
and every story is made out to the extremes.